New South Wales has just introduced some new laws on rent bidding. So what is rent bidding and does it actually happen out there in the market? Rent bidding is exactly as the name suggests, where people try to pay more than the advertised price for a rental listing. This can happen where properties are listed for a rental price range, or people come into an open home and an agent says, yeah, if you want to make a higher offer, that would obviously help your application. Then this causes an issue in the market where things aren't priced competitively and people are fighting for these rental listings to put in an extra $20, an extra $50 to try and get a home to live in. Now, in today's topic, we're going to be talking about New South Wales that have just updated their laws on rental bidding, but this is already in place in places like Queensland, Victoria, Tasmania, and the ACT. But in reality, does this law or do these laws really have much effect? Because it doesn't really stop people putting an extra $20 in on their application if they decide to offer more money. There will be new restrictions on rent bidding in New South Wales from this week. What is it, and will it make housing more affordable? Now, I quickly don't think it will make housing more affordable. It's just going to give you more transparency of prices. The New South Wales Government announced this week they will put an end to rent bidding, a practice used to drive up rent prices among potential tenants. It will come into effect in New South Wales from Saturday. What is rent bidding? Like we said earlier, rent bidding can happen while a property is being advertised for rent. A property owner or agent would encourage or ask prospective tenants to raise their rent offer to make their application more attractive. I mean, that's simply known anyway. When you go into a home and it's listed for $500 a week or $1,000 per week, you know if you're going to offer another $100 or $50 a week, that your application is likely to be well received from that point of view. So as far as rent bidding in terms of the laws go, as long as the agent doesn't ask for it, but everyone knows that you can offer more money and you have a better chance, I don't really see how these laws have much of an effect. Rent bidding can intensify housing stress, and some say it creates an unfair playing field among prospective tenants. That's really true, right? People who have more money have more choices, and people who have more choices means they can offer more money for a place they would like to live in. It's just the world is a little unfair that we live in, and so people who have more money can live in nicer houses and rent nicer places and potentially offer more money and compete for those rental properties. New South Wales regulation. So prospective tenants in New South Wales will still be able to offer a higher rent price than what's advertised. It would just have to be offered voluntarily by the tenant. It's expected the proposed changes will be sent to the New South Wales Governor on Friday, who is expected to formalise the new restrictions. Protections against rent bidding are already in place in Victoria, Queensland and Tasmania. Like New South Wales, some of these states allow prospective tenants to offer more rent than what is advertised, as long as this isn't initiated by the landlord or agent. Legislation placing restrictions on rent bidding was tabled in the ACT last month, while a crackdown on the practice is under review in South Australia. I find this really interesting that as long as it's not solicited by the selling agent or by the landlord, then there's no issues. But it doesn't mean rent bidding or bidding up prices for a rental property won't take place. You can imagine a property that's going for $500 per week in a great location that appears to be good value, and people see another 5 or 6 groups going through that open home on a Saturday morning. People are going to think about putting an extra $10 or $20 in on their application to try and sweeten the deal. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I think that these laws coming into place are good, that they can't be solicited. But what I'm saying is it's not really going to have much of an effect on the market. We live in a capitalistic society where money talks. And in this situation, if people are willing to offer more money for something where they see value, that's where a landlord's going to happily take the high rent if they seem like high quality tenants. And so it's not really going to stop rent bidding. It's just going to stop landlords and selling agents proposing that people offer more rent. But the unspoken word and the unspoken rule that people will know is that if you want to offer more money, you absolutely can. Now, Emily and I were actually renters for several years. We even planned on being rent vestors for about a 10-year period, but our plans changed and evolved over time. Our first place was a little 2-bedroom unit in a suburb called Holland Park, where we rented for $300 per week. The walls were paper thin. It was a block of 4 units with timber floors throughout the entire block, and so everything was connected and very close together. We then thought we bidded a big splurge and upgraded to $340 per week. week. Now that extra $40 per week was a lot of money to us at the time. And we moved into a double brick, second story apartment block, which we thought was much nicer. Now, rents these days for the average Aussie are at least around that $450 to $500 a mark for people who are looking to live in this style of apartment. So this is just 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartments in the inner CBD ring within, say, 10 kilometres of Brisbane CBD. Now, I can't really imagine what the rental market is like where people are competing for $600 a week for just a single bedroom or a single bedder in Sydney CBD, or in Melbourne. People could be paying anywhere from $600 to $1,000 per week for small places in these Sydney and Melbourne locations. $1,000 a week is 52 grand a year. Now, you've got to find that balance between finding the right property in terms of the price point. You don't want to pay too much money per week for rent, as well as finding the right location. And that's where it becomes difficult. To be perfectly honest, I don't see how these rental bidding laws actually improve housing affordability. All it does is stop selling agents and landlords soliciting more offers. But given we live in this capitalistic society, people are going to offer more money if they see value. And at the end of the day, the highest bidder or the highest price of rent will typically win. Now, the way I see it, to get out of this rent cycle, you need to be able to either buy your own home or build enough passive income that you can continue to rentvest. And like I said, that was a legitimate strategy that Emily and I were looking to use. The reason we ended up buying our own home was we found a property that was in our dream location and our dream suburb. And we also saw that we could add value to the property in both the short and the long term. You'll see that the triple Gable Queenslander here, we did a full renovation on this property inside and out. And we added capital value, which allowed us to pull equity and buy the property in Coffs Harbour. Now, even the bigger picture than that is we're going to do that raise and build project in the next 12 to 18 months. And what that means is we're going to again add capital value and increase the net worth in our property portfolio. For those of you who are just starting out, it might not be possible for you to buy your own place. But what it does mean is you need to put your money to work. Whether it's in property, whether it's in shares or another asset class, you can't just have your cash sitting in the bank. Yes, you need a cash buffer and liquidity, but you also need to invest your money so it's not eaten away by inflation. For Emily and I, this has looked like buying investment properties, adding value to those properties, and seeing the market grow over time. Now, if you're interested in having a chat with myself about potentially buying a property in the Brisbane market, whether you're a homeowner or an investor, head over to purposeproperty.com.au to book in a chat with myself. Otherwise, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. What do you think of rent bidding and these laws that are in place across the states? And have you ever been in the situation where you've needed to bid on a rental property? If you could drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel down below, that would really help me out. And click this video over here for more things real estate, renovating, and financial freedom. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.